We've caught up now after the craziness of CES, and I hope that you've enjoyed our extensive coverage from the event, tracking down all the latest monitor releases and announcements being made. The links for our CES coverage can be found in the description below if you missed anything or if you just want a full roundup of everything that went on at that event. But today we're going to take a look at all of the other monitor news so far from the start of 2026. That includes an update to monitor dual mode functionality, a newly announced range of professional screens, updates on 1000Hz gaming monitors, plus all of the latest OLED and LCD news that we could find. We'll also provide a recap of all of the latest reviews and articles that we've published and answer some of the questions that we've seen and we've been asked over the last month or so. So let's get right into it now. Dual mode support has become a fairly common feature on gaming screens now, offering gamers a hybrid resolution and refresh rate combination, typically with a high density 4K or even 5K native resolution at a mid-tier refresh rate, and then a dual mode function that allows you to boost that refresh rate much higher when dropping to a low resolution for faster paced gaming. Dual mode support has recently gone through somewhat of a makeover though, it seems, with some manufacturers now offering increases to the refresh rate boost from this function rather than just doubling your refresh rate by dropping to a low resolution, which has been the norm now for a while. We've seen several brands offering higher refresh rate boosts in either a triple or quadruple range. For instance, the recently unveiled Asus ROG Strix XG27UC-GR is a Gen 2 update of their earlier XG27UC-G model, and this 27-inch sized fast IPS LCD panel features a 4K resolution and a rather random and specific native refresh rate of 162 Hz. Then there's the dual mode function, which allows you to triple your refresh rate up to an impressive 486 Hz when dropping to a lower 1080p resolution. This model also includes features such as eLMB sync for blur reduction that can be used at the same time as VRR, and a range of modern connectivity including USB-C. The second offering from Asus forms part of their affordable TUF gaming or TUF gaming lineup, and this model also features a 27-inch fast IPS panel with a 4K native resolution, and the dual mode function here allows you to switch between a 4K resolution at a pretty low 80Hz native refresh rate up to 310Hz at 1080p, meaning almost a quadruple boost in frame rates. It includes a standard fixed refresh rate eLMB function for blur reduction benefits in competitive gaming situations, and being a TUF gaming model, it should offer an attractive price point when it's released. These two Asus screens come hot on the heels of MSI's MAG series model, which was unveiled at CES in January as well. That offered a quad boost dual mode function. Like the Asus models, this is a 27-inch size screen and it's built around a rapid IPS panel, but this one boasts an even higher 5K resolution with the quad boost dual mode function, allowing the standard refresh rate of 75Hz to be quadrupled to 300Hz when you drop to a lower 1440p resolution, which is still a decent resolution on a 27-inch screen size like this. None of these new monitors are available to buy just yet, but it feels like this change in dual mode performance may start to feature more heavily in the monitor space moving forward. Away from gaming news, IYAMA have recently introduced their new ProGraphic series range, aimed at professional users with the focus on colour accuracy and productivity. The two new models are identical in specs apart from their size. One is 27-inch and the other is a slightly larger 32-inch. They combine IPS Black 2.0 panel technology, DCI-P3 color coverage and 4K resolutions to deliver stunning visuals and color accuracy. The IPS Black 2.0 panel reportedly offers improvements to viewing angles and contrast ratio, which includes a 3000:1 spec now on these new monitors. Each one is also Pantone validated for colour accuracy. These screens are both available now and are set at competitive price points for this segment, so do check these out if you're in the market for a pro monitor. There was loads of OLED news at CES as well at the start of January, but we won't repeat it all here, as you can just check out our CES roundup video linked below if you want to know loads more about all of those screens. But there has since been a few other interesting OLED monitors that we want to talk about now. AOC have joined the likes of Asus and LG by introducing their first display to feature LG Display's 4th Gen Tandem QD-OLED panel technology. It's a 27-inch side screen with a 1440p resolution, a native 540Hz refresh rate, and a dual mode function that can push your refresh rate even further to 720Hz at a lower 720p resolution. It offers great HDR support, which you expect from an OLED screen, including certification under the VESA Display HDR 500 True Black tier and a peak brightness spec of 1500 nits. It also offers modern connectivity options too, which include full-speed DP 2.1. In other news, Gigabyte announced a couple of new glossy WOLED screens, which we featured in a Roundup article recently. This includes the arrival of the G027Q24G, which is a 27-inch size screen with a 1440p resolution and 240Hz refresh rate. This model features an earlier generation WOLED panel which uses MLA Plus technology to enhance brightness, but it boasts a new glossy screen coating from the panel manufacturer LG Display. Gigabyte referred to this coating as Real Black Glossy, and it's the same thing that Asus market as True Black Glossy for their alternative monitor using the same panel, with the coating helping to deliver deeper blacks and a super clear and clean image thanks to its zero haze finish. This new model also features Gigabyte's new Hyper Nits HDR setting, which can apparently boost brightness by up to 30% and which we saw demoed at CES this year. We'll be testing HyperNits in more detail soon as well on a couple of their monitors, so do stay tuned for that next month. Also worth a mention is the Gigabyte MO27Q28GR, which we've talked about in the past, but this is the other new WOLED monitor in their range, which will offer a new Real Black Glossy screen coating. It's an alternative version of their super popular MO27Q28G, which we've already reviewed in full, and it's got the same tandem WOLED panel, the same specs and feature set, just with the option now of this glossy screen coating if you prefer that instead of the normal matte anti-glare coating. This model will also feature their HyperNits HDR mode, and it should be available soon. Gigabyte have told us that they're planning to release other glossy WOLED monitors in the future too, and you can check out our article link below for more information on both of these models and all of the new features and capabilities. Let's move on from OLED now and take a look at the latest LCD monitor news. We'll start with an AOC model, and this is a screen that they're calling a flagship model in their range. It's a 27-inch mini LED gaming display with a fast IPS panel, a 4K resolution and 160Hz refresh rate. For faster gaming, a dual mode function is available so that you can double your refresh rate to 320Hz when dropping to a lower 1080p resolution. It offers great brightness, contrast and HDR capabilities thanks to its mini LED backlight with an impressive 2,304 local dimming zones, and it's certified also under the VESA Display HDR 1400 tier, offering a peak brightness spec of 1600 nits. This is an upgrade to their AG275UXM model, which was launched in 2024, offering improvements now in the mini LED backlight, brightness and HDR, with the addition also of a dual mode functionality. This one is seemingly one of their most advanced products in terms of display technologies, hence why they're touting it as a flagship model in their range. Sticking with AOC, they continue to expand their Aegon Pro lineup as well, with 2 further fast IPS screens in their ever-growing arsenal of gaming displays being launched. The first is the high-end AOC Aegon Pro AGP277KX, which was teased at the start of the year and is set to incorporate a 27-inch sized ultra-fast IPS panel with a 5K resolution and 165Hz refresh rate. A dual mode function means that you can easily switch between the native refresh rate and 330Hz at 1440p if you'd rather. In addition, it will also offer what they refer to as an STW full viewing angle compensation, which is seemingly a panel film that is meant to improve viewing angles and reduce colour shift. There's still no sign of an official product page for this screen though, or more official product information since the original teaser. More info when we get it, of course. If you want a smaller format monitor, then the AOC Aegon Pro AG256FK offers a smaller size panel at 24.5 inches in size with a 1080p resolution and a super fast 420Hz refresh rate, which some people still prefer for more focused gaming and lower resolutions. Another small format gaming screen that was announced recently is the Dell Alienware AW2526HL, which is also a 24.5 inch sized IPS screen with a 1080p resolution and 300Hz refresh rate. With the cost expected to be very low, this could be a popular choice if and when it's more widely released. Our special mention this month goes to both Philips and AOC for releasing more information and specs for their insanely fast 1000Hz gaming LCD monitors. Both models were briefly teased at the end of last year, just around the time of CES, and they've now officially appeared on their China product websites. Both models feature 27-inch sized fast IPS panels with a 1440p resolution and a native 540Hz refresh rate, but if that's not enough, then there's a dual mode function where you can reach crazy speeds of 1000Hz when dropping to a much lower 720p resolution. Dropping to that resolution will undoubtedly affect the image quality, but what it will lack in visuals, it could perhaps make up for in motion clarity and frame rate support, which should appeal to those competitive esports gamers out there where every millisecond counts. We're keen to see how these 1000Hz IPS monitors perform in real usage and whether the response times are sufficient to keep up with the super high frame rate demands. Other brands announced 1000Hz or higher monitors at CES as well, so there'll be some good choice it seems in this segment later this year. We've published several new reviews recently too, which we'll recap quickly in case you missed any of them. Both the ASUS ROG Swift PG34 WCDN and the MSI MPG 341CQR X36 were unveiled at CES this year, and both feature 34-inch ultrawide panels with a subtle 1800R curvature, 3440 by 1440 resolution and a 360Hz refresh rate. The most exciting aspect of these displays are that they're built around brand new 5th gen QD-OLED panel technology from Samsung Display, which offers a true RGB striped subpixel layout for improved text and image clarity, and an upgraded panel finish as well. ASUS refer to this as Black Shield film, MSI call this Dark Armor film, but this basically helps to deliver deeper and more accurate blacks while also providing 2.5 times better scratch resistance than earlier QD-OLED panels. The specs are great and there's a huge range of panel upgrades on offer here, so you can find out how they measure up in our full reviews, which are linked in the description below. We've also recently reviewed another display that was unveiled at CES in January, the ASUS ROG Swift PG32UC DM3, which is an update to their very popular PG32UC DM model. That was released back in 2024, and there's also been a DMR model released in 2025, so this is therefore their third generation of this particular screen. It remains 32 inches in size with a 4K resolution and 240Hz refresh rate like the earlier models, but there's improvements here thanks to the use for the first time of a 4th gen QD-OLED panel and the new Black Shield film coating as well. It also includes their Neo proximity sensor, full speed DP 2.1 connectivity and display HDR 500 True Black certification. One final monitor that we've reviewed very recently is the MSI MAG 274QPF X30MV, a 27-inch rapid VA LCD technology panel with a 1440p resolution and 300Hz refresh rate. This model is an LCD and it features a 1152 zone mini LED backlight, certification under the VESA Display HDR 1000 tier and a peak brightness spec of 1000 nits. If you haven't already seen them, do check out all of these reviews using the links below and stick around to the end of this video where we'll also give you a sneak peek of some other new reviews and content coming up over the next month or so. Let's also take a quick look at a few of the latest releases that have finally made their way onto the shelves this month, starting with the super popular ASUS ROG Strix XG27AQ-WMG. This features a 27-inch tandem WOLED panel with a 1440p resolution and 280Hz refresh rate, and there's also a True Black glossy coating, display HDR 500 True Black certification, and a peak brightness of 1500 nits. We've reviewed this last year and we're pleased to see that it's finally starting to appear more widely in key regions like the US and Europe now. Their other flagship tandem WOLED monitor, the ROG Swift PG27AQWP-W, which we reviewed a few months back, has also started to appear now in some regions, with this model offering a 27-inch 1440p resolution panel, True Black glossy coating, and a 540Hz native refresh rate with 720Hz dual mode at 720p. This one's appeared now in some retailers for order, with further availability expected soon. One of our other recently reviewed screens has also appeared now for pre-order in the UK, at least for now, The Asus ROG Swift PG32UC-DM3 that we mentioned a moment ago is now listed on Amazon with an expected shipment in 10 to 11 weeks apparently, although we do expect stock and availability to improve soon as it was forecast for a late Q1 release originally. Other regions should follow before too long, we'd hope as well. We've also now seen the LG UltraGear 5.2 G930B. We've seen this appear now on LG's website and available to pre-order, which is a massive 52-inch sized ultra-wide screen with a VA LCD panel, 5K 2K resolution, 240Hz refresh rate and 1000R curvature. It's a huge format screen that we saw in action at CES in January, and it's available for pre-order now, with shipping apparently due to start towards the end of March. Related to all of these new releases, if you're looking to buy a new OLED monitor this year, but you don't really know whether you should grab one right now or maybe wait for some of the new releases in 2026, you might want to check out our latest Buy Now or Wait video, where we run through all of our current recommendations by screen size and discuss the models that you might want to wait for in certain cases. That's linked below in the description if you want to check that out. On to a few recently published articles now that we want to mention, the first of which explores the issue of black crush and shadow detail on OLED panels. We wanted to look into the nuances of this a little bit further, understand why this can sometimes be a problem, consider whether WOLED and QD-OLED panels behave differently to one another, and see how we can include extensive testing for this in our future reviews. We also published a second article which explored and tested the reported problems with grey banding on recently launched tandem WOLED panels. It's a really detailed article looking at the reality of the reports, what causes it, whether different panel generations and technologies are affected in different ways, and capturing loads of examples from a range of different OLED monitors. We've also got responses from both Asus and Gigabyte about some of their monitors, as well as some technical detail from LG Display on this subject. Those two topics are something that you should probably be aware of on OLED panels, and so if you've seen reports of either of them online, or you're concerned, or you just want to learn loads more about the potential challenges and issues, check out our full articles linked below. Speaking of OLED flaws and challenges, I recently appeared on the Hardware Unboxed podcast, and Tim and I talked all about these issues further, as well as discussing things like OLED burn-in, along with lots of less negative discussions talking about the latest announcements from CES, future 2026 monitors, and topics like whether 5K gaming monitors make sense. It's a long and varied discussion about all things monitors, so check that out via your usual podcast app or on the Hardware Unboxed podcast YouTube channel if you want to hear that back. We also want to mention our recently published roundup, which looks at various affordable OLED monitors that are being launched by Asus soon. Our article focuses on 4 particular models, and they feature a range of different panel choices, refresh rates, and coating finishes to choose from. It might not be a great time to upgrade your gaming PC right now with all of the pricing and availability challenges for RAM, hard drives, and graphics cards, but upgrading your monitor could perhaps be the single biggest gaming upgrade that you can make this year, and buying an OLED screen doesn't have to break the bank anymore. Check out our article if you want to know loads more about those new Asus screens. If you want to know all about the latest 2026 WOLED panel developments as well, and the roadmap for 2026 and beyond, we also recently published a video which goes through all of the latest technologies, specs, and plans for this year. That covers the LG Display WOLED updates, and we'll hopefully do something similar for Samsung's QD-OLED technology at some point soon. So make sure you hit subscribe to stay up to date on that when it's available. Finally, it's not all gaming monitors that we've been writing about this month, as we've updated our comprehensive roundup of Asus's ProArt monitor range as well, which includes a buyer's guide and features all of the latest models and features in one place. That's available for those who are interested in the professional and creative space and looking for a monitor for those use cases. Before we finish up, we just wanted to address some common questions that have popped up over this last month or so. As always, you can leave other questions and thoughts in the comments section below, and we'll try and cover those next month if we can. During February, we saw Samsung Display launch their new Penta Tandem QD-OLED brand, which caused quite a bit of confusion but is thankfully quite simple once you understand it. This isn't a new thing, it's simply a brand name that they've introduced to distinguish all of their QD-OLED TV and monitor panels which feature their latest OLED material, and actually that incorporates some of the panels from 2025 along with their new panels being produced for 2026. In the monitor space, their first panel that will now fall under this Penta Tandem QD-OLED panel brand name is their 27-inch 4K panel produced in 2025, which has been used in loads of monitors already. Those 27-inch 4K panels were the first to use their latest electroluminescence 3 material, or EL 3.0 as it's more commonly shortened to, which shifts from a 4-stack to a 5-stack structure of light-emitting layers. And it's the use of this EL 3.0 material which distinguishes the new Penta Tandem branding from their earlier generations. Any of their panels which use that EL 3.0 material are now going to be branded under the Penta Tandem QD-OLED brand, so that includes last year's 27-inch 4K panel as well as their upgraded 32-inch 4K panel that we've seen featured in several monitors already, including the Asus PG32UCDM3 that we talked about earlier and reviewed recently. The branding also includes their new 34-inch ultra-wide panel with the RGB striped subpixel layout and 360Hz refresh rate, the one that was featured and talked about earlier in monitors like the Asus and MSI versions that we reviewed recently. So that's 3 of their most recent monitor panels already in mass production, which will now go under the brand name of Penta Tandem QD-OLED. In the same press release, Samsung Display also referenced an upcoming panel refresh of their 49-inch super ultra-wide panel in 2026, which will use the newer EL 3.0 material and therefore form part of their Penta Tandem lineup. Specs were limited, but we've reached out to Samsung Display for more information, so we'll share updates in the future when we get them, including whether there's any other planned panel refreshes or launches coming up. Keep an eye on our website and YouTube channel for more content coming soon, as we're just finishing up a review of the KTC M27P6. It's an attractively priced and well-spec'd dual-mode mini-LED monitor that will follow on from some of the other recent mini-LED reviews that we've done. We've also now received Asus's G-Sync Pulsar monitor, and we hope to take a look at that in March for a full review to see how Pulsar performs for gamers and how it compares with OLED monitors. As we said earlier, we'll also try and take a look at Gigabyte's new HyperNits HDR feature, which is included on various new models in their range and is also being rolled out to some of their earlier and existing models via a firmware update too. We'll explore that in more detail soon to see what the benefits are that it can offer to HDR performance and brightness. So that's about it for January and February. I hope you've enjoyed these condensed highlights for this month, covering everything that's been going on in the world of monitors. If you enjoyed our monthly roundup, give us a quick like below, that would be really appreciated. And do leave us any questions or comments as well in the description. Hit subscribe as well to stay up to date on all of the latest news, reviews and content coming up. Thank you for watching. We'll catch you next time.